Hi. Alright, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. And here's the thing guys, I am going on vacation starting next weekend, which means that this weekend I have absolutely no plans. On purpose, I am very much an introvert, I am a homebody, and I love traveling, I love going on vacation, but anytime that I do it, I need like literally a full week before where I don't leave my house so that I can charge up and get ready to be out and about socializing for several days straight. And then I need like a full week, maybe more afterwards, to just like recover. So because I have absolutely no plans this weekend, I thought that it would be the perfect time to catch up on some rom-com books that I have been meaning to read for months now. It's honestly embarrassing. I feel like I've talked about these books so many times saying that I'm gonna read them and like I just haven't. Don't know why, but I am finally like in the mood. I've been in a bit of a romance slump, but now I'm very excited to read these books. I just feel like summer is kind of ending. We're moving into fall and I hate summer. Literally, I have reverse seasonal depression. I am just a fall girl, a winter girl. I cannot stand the heat. I cannot stand summer activities unless it's like a summer I turn pretty kind of moment where I'm like in New England and it's 60 degrees outside and I get to wear like a cute little sweater and I'm like walking on a boardwalk and staring out at the beach in the distance while I have like a little ice cream cone in my hand or like a nice little lemonade. That is my kind of moment, but everything else, like this Texas heat, it has been 109 degrees for like 5 days straight. I can't do it. I can't leave my house. It's painfully uncomfortable. Anyways, not what we're here talking about. As we're moving into fall, now that it's about to be September, I'm just in a good mood. I'm ready to read romance again, and I'm ready to kind of like get these final little summer vibes in. But I have 3 books that I would like to read this weekend. I know this is like a big venture. I know that it's kind of a commitment, but I really think that I can do it. Like, I want to challenge myself. I've never really done anything on my channel where I do like a readathon or reading for 24 hours straight or whatever. Not saying that I'm doing that, but I just love watching vlogs where people sit down and they just read like a bunch of books in one sitting, or they just like spend a weekend knocking out like 3 to 5 books, and I'm like, dang, like I've just never even thought to do that. So I want to do it this weekend. I want to see if I can get all 3 of these books done, my top priority list, and I'm just very excited. The first one is the one I'm most excited about, if I'm being honest. It's Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This book has been on my top priority TBR list for I feel like the last 8 to 9 months. Like, I constantly get comments and messages from you guys asking me if I've read this book, and I always respond saying like, no, but I'm reading it this month. I swear, like I'm gonna read it. It's like next on my list. Like I'm gonna read it, and then I don't, and I don't know why. It makes absolutely no sense. Everything about this book excites me. It just looks so freaking cute. I feel like it's gonna give me like the warm and fuzzy, nostalgic sort of feelings. And I am just like a big nerd when it comes to movies. And every single chapter starts with a quote from a movie. Like, that alone just makes my heart explode. I think that this is like a friends to lovers fake dating story. I feel like I've seen people talk about it, and I think that the guy is like madly in love with the girl and she is just clueless, which I kind of love that moment sometimes. I feel like it's kind of fun when like the guy is so in love with the girl and you just want to like smack her because it's so obvious, but she just like doesn't see it. I know it can be annoying, but sometimes it's just like kind of fun to read stories like that, and it just makes me want to like twirl my hair and be like, like, does he love me? Does he not? Like, I don't know. I just think it'll be really cute. So very excited for this one. And then the next one, I think that this genuinely is the cutest rom-com cover that has ever existed. If I feel like it has to be the cutest one that is on my shelf, it is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I love this cover so much that I actually was never planning to read another Sarah Adams book. I hated I hated the cheat sheet. I really didn't like it. I think I read it 2 years ago now, and it was one of my absolute least favorite reads of the whole year. It just didn't click for me. It was just very fluffy. It felt like very immature. It just wasn't my thing. But I saw the cover reveal for this book, and I found out that it was like a spin-off or sort of like a sequel to a previous book, and I was like, okay, I have to read that book because I need to own this cover. Like, that's how much I'm in love with it. Like, something about it, I am so not this girl. I'm not like a girly girl pink flowers, rainbow. I mean, I like flowers, I like butterflies, I like certain things, but like in general, this is not my vibe. But something about it, it just evokes the same emotions that I feel like the Barbie movie did in me. Like, I just want to be a little girl again. I want to paint my nails pink. I want to braid my hair. I just want to like jump around, and I don't know, I just love it. It's so cute. It's so cute. But anyways, this book is the sequel slash spinoff to When in Rome, if you recognize this. Basically, this book is about this famous singer that needs a little mental break, so she decides to go and stay in Rome, Kentucky. It's this super small town, and there she ends up meeting this very grumpy baker, and this is their sort of love story. And this book is about the grumpy baker's sister and the singer's bodyguard. And I think, or I know it's a fake dating story. I think they like practice dating each other. So we've got 2 little fake dating moments. Has me very excited. I just think I'm gonna fly through this book. I ended up really liking this one. I feel like I didn't say that. This one was actually really good, like night and day difference for me from the cheat sheet. Sarah Adams just is known for writing very like fluffy, cute, you know, not super spicy, not super conflict heavy romance books. But I really liked this one because I felt like there was just a lot more to it than the cheat sheet. Even though it wasn't like heavy conflict, there was like a plot and a story and like a conflicting thing kind of keeping this couple apart. It reminded me of a Hallmark movie, but like not in a super cheesy way. It was just good. It was an easy read. I read this in I think one day. So I think I will do the same with this one. I'm very excited to see. But yes, the third one I am so excited for. This was one of my most highly anticipated reads of the entire year. And I also think that this one is going to be like the least rom-com-y of these rom-coms. It is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I meant to grab it, but I didn't. She was the author of The Dead Romantics, and I loved this book last year. Like, I feel like I still think about it all the time. It was just so different, and I feel like in general, Ashley Poston is just a very different type of writer. She writes romance books, but it seems like every story she writes has like a little spin to it, like a paranormal element or a magical sort of element. And this book, from what I understand, is no different. I really don't know anything about it. I just know it's about a romance between this girl and this guy that somehow are living 7 years apart from each other. I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's like time travel, if it's a ghost thing, if it's a magic thing. I don't know. That is just the only information that I have, but it's all I need to have because I trust this woman. I loved The Dead Romantics so much that I'm just like convinced I will love this one. I have like a really good feeling about it. I was really, really excited for it, but I haven't seen a ton of people talk about it, but the people I have seen talk about it all rate it 5 stars and absolutely loved it. So very, very excited for it. I think, guys, that I am just gonna go in the order that we talked about these. I think I'm gonna start with Better Than the Movies, just because also it's like the thickest of these. And I really wanna test myself and see if I can sit on this couch right now and read it in one sitting. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I am going to start it, and then I think just like once I get a better gist of the story, I will stop and check in with you guys. I'm not gonna do any spoilers in this video. I will tell you like basic plot points of what's going on and like my general reactions to it, and then like my overall thoughts on the books once I finish them, but I'm not gonna like spoil anything. So if you're interested in reading any of these books, you can definitely watch this. I will make sure to not give anything away. But yeah, I am so excited to get started. I think this is gonna be a fun little video. But yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, I am 100 pages into Better Than the Movies, and I am really liking it so far. I didn't even realize whenever I first looked at the cover, like I never really sat here and analyzed it, but all of the little pictures on the front are actually like iconic movie scenes, but drawn with the couple from the book. I mean, I should have, and I did recognize this, but I just didn't think about it. This is obviously Dirty Dancing, which is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Top 3, love it. And then this is La La Land, and then this is from Say Anything, and then this one is the one that actually caught my eye and made me realize this. The Notebook, obviously the iconic like kissing in the rain scene, and then this is Bridget Jones's Diary, which is like a big part of this book. But anyways, the more I read it, the more I just feel like it's so cute. And I knew it was centered around movies, but it's really such a big part of this book. So if you are a movie lover, especially a rom-com movie lover, you will really like this book. Basically, it follows this girl named Liz that grew up with a mom that was a romantic comedy movie screenwriter and just lover. They really bonded over rom-coms. They would watch them every single night, and her mom really like instilled this idea in Liz of what like a true love was, and that, you know, because of that, like Liz has always fantasized of this moment that she's gonna have her meet cute, and she's always like playing out scenarios in her head, and she just like wants to find her Prince Charming, and she's kind of like a girl after my own heart in that way. Like she just like has her head in the clouds, and she just like dreams of like this epic sort of unattainable love story. But pretty much she has grown up with this boy that lives next door named Wes, and the two of them are kind of like total nemesises to each other. I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize this was kind of like an enemies to lovers moment, but her and Wes just like have never been able to get along. They always bicker. He's always kind of picked on her. He's always like messed with her growing up. Like they would go over to each other's houses and play and stuff, but he's just always kind of like terrorized her, and he drives her insane. And now they're both in high school, and their latest sort of feud is that they both like fight over this one parking spot that's on their street, and every single day it's like they're fighting for the spot, and like Wes is putting things in the spot so she can't park there, and she just like cannot stand him. But now she's a junior or a senior in high school, and she has just recently started her latest fantasy, because this boy that she has been in love with her entire life named Michael, he used to live on the same street that her and Wes lived on. She was just obsessed with him, enamored with him, always like had, you know, stars in her eyes, and thought that they were just gonna like be together forever. But he moved away, and now he has just moved back. So now Liz is like starting the fantasy over. She's like, Michael, she set her eyes on him, she wants him, but she's having some trouble getting kind of in contact with him, or like finding a reason to talk to him. And prom is coming up. She wants him to ask her to prom, so she ends up coming up with the idea, because him and Wes have very quickly picked up their friendship. They used to live on the same street. They all kind of played together when they were kids. Him and Wes have like started hanging out again, and she's like, as much as I hate this, like I think I need Wes to get to Michael. So they end up making a deal that if Wes helps her get to Michael, he can like use the parking spot that they've been fighting over for a certain amount of time. So it starts out with that of like her just using Wes to like get around Michael more, but then it kind of transitions into a fake dating situation where they extend the offer of like he gets to use the parking spot for the rest of the year if he basically pretends to date her, helps her out. It's kind of turned into like a total like rom-com movie moment where he's helping her out to like try to get him. Like he just gave her a makeover, like they went to the mall together, because she's such a hopeless romantic, and she dresses very much like these heroines in these movies dress that she's watched growing up. So it's very kind of like, not grandma-y, but she dresses, you know, like Doris Day, and like that's how she wants to look. And he's like, sis, you look like you are like 35. Like she went to this party with Wes, and Michael literally thought she was wearing like a waitress uniform, and Wes is like, sis, we need to like get it together. Like you need some better clothes, you need to like fix your hair or whatever if you want to impress him, because you just like you're dressing like someone from a 90s rom-com and not like someone that's in high school today, whatever. So it's been really, really cute. They totally have this like banter between the two of them that's really funny. It's made me like laugh out loud several times, and it's just really easy to read, really easy to follow. And you know, you can tell that obviously they don't like each other right now, and she's trying to get Michael, but you can see the slow like transition of, you know, because they're spending more time together, they are kind of forced to get to know each other more. But it's just really cute. I love all the movie references. Like there's so many in this book, and also a massive part of the book is music, like movie soundtracks. Liz is obsessed with movie soundtracks, and she like plays a song to like every part of her life. Like she just tries to like turn everything that she does into a movie, and everything's a movie scene, and she's always listening to movie soundtracks depending on like what mood she's in. So I just love all the references, all the movies, like all the songs. Like there's been multiple mentions of Taylor Swift. Like I just enjoy it. It's really cute so far. Definitely interested to see where it goes, and just, you know, how the events all play out. But so far I really, really like it. It's a very easy read, and I was very interested to find out that it was more of an enemies to lovers moment, because I very much thought it was like childhood friends to lovers. Like that's the vibe that I got. But their little banter, their back and forth, the way that they're next door neighbors and have known each other their whole lives, I just really like it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna continue, but so far so good. Guys, this book is so cute. It is so cute. This whole scene just happened that had me like kicking my feet and giggling. I feel like I haven't read a book like this in a very long time. I feel like I'm in high school again. I feel like I'm like 13 years old. That's not high school, but you know what I mean. I just feel like I'm like a kid in junior high with like my first crush ever. It has like that kind of feeling to it. The kind of just flirtatious back and forth banter, and her like texting with this guy that she's into, but then also texting and talking to like the boy next door that she doesn't like, and her trying to like analyze what the texts mean. Like it's just so, it's so girlhood. It is so like growing up, being a young girl, wanting to fall in love. It's just really cute. And it's so well done. Like it's cheesy, but in the best way possible, you know? Like it just, I feel like a kid again. I don't know. I just love it. I'm really, really into it. Okay guys, I just finished this and I am truly flabbergasted by how much I loved this book. It was so freaking cute and wholesome. Like truly, it felt like a 90s movie. Like it felt like 10 Things I Hate About You. Like that kind of vibe, that kind of movie that just like squeezes your heart and like makes you want to be in love. It was just so sweet and wholesome. Like there was nothing crazy to this book, no like insane spice scene, but like it very much had one of those endings where it's like everything just comes together and there's kind of like a dramatic confession, but it also just felt very like real and raw at the same time. Like this just felt like very much something that could happen to somebody in high school. It was just a good little boy next door coming of age kind of story that really dealt with a lot of very real issues that you have when you're growing up and you're learning about love and relationships and friendships and what's important, and you're just going through that weird time of like trying to figure out who you are and what you want, and you know, having this vision of something that you want based on things you see in the movies, and then realizing that a lot of things in life are actually better than the movies. It was just so good. Like truly, I don't have any criticism of it. I loved it. You know, I just finished it, so I'm like, maybe relax, maybe let me sit on it for a minute, but I think this is my favorite rom-com that I've read since like The Love Hypothesis or The Hating Game. Like if you guys have been consistently watching me over the last couple of months, you would know that I have been so out of romance, so just like not feeling anything when I've been reading any type of just straight up rom-com kind of moment. It just hasn't done it for me, but this book just like made me so happy. I mean, I just sat here and like flew through it all essentially in one sitting. I mean, I took 1 or 2 little TikTok and snack breaks, don't come at me, but I read it all today and I really, really loved it. I feel like it's gonna be hard to top it, honestly. Like I had a feeling I was gonna like it. So many of you guys have said that it was so good and you loved it, but you just never know. Like I feel like for me especially, the books that are just really hyped, I either tend to love them or I absolutely hate them, and there's no in between. It's never like I read it and I'm like, oh, that's okay. It's like I either love it or I despise it and don't understand the hype at all. But this one for me, it was a love. I absolutely loved it. Like I think right now it's one of my favorite books I've read all year. So definitely a success with this one. So glad I finally decided to pick it up 10 years later. Gonna have to check out more by Lynn Painter. So if you guys have read more books by her, she has so many. I know of several off the top of my head, but if you guys have a favorite by her, definitely let me know in the comments because I'm interested to see what else she has. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump into Practice Makes Perfect now. I almost feel nervous to jump into this now because this was such a good like fake dating, practice dating kind of story, and I know this is the same type of trope, so I feel like I'm very much going to be comparing the two, so I don't know if that's like very fair, but I've been wanting to read this book. Like literally, I don't think I've ever been so attracted to a cartoon character. Look at this man. Look at this man, his tattoos. I am completely obsessed. Definitely gonna get started on this tonight, and yeah, I'll check in once I have a better idea of what the story is. I'm excited. Okay guys, I am 70 pages into Practice Makes Perfect, and I feel like I'm at a very good stopping place to talk a little bit more about the plot. So if you remember, the first book in this series follows this really famous singer that is going through a bit of a mental breakdown. She's obsessed with Audrey Hepburn movies. Roman Holiday is her favorite, and she just needs to get away from it all for a while. She needs to take a break, and she dreams of running off to Rome, but she can't do that because she has responsibilities. So she does the next best thing, and she ends up driving in the middle of the night to Rome, Kentucky. But when she gets there, her car breaks down, and that is where she meets the town's grumpy baker. He owns a pie shop, and that book is about like their love story. And in that book, you meet these two characters. So the first one is the sister of the grumpy baker, pie shop owner. She is a florist in that small town. And then you meet the singer's bodyguard named Will. You meet him briefly. So basically, when the two of them get together, because she's a really famous singer and she now lives in this small town when she's not touring and working, the town is kind of like on the map now. People are coming and visiting it, and she just needs to be kept safe. So when they first get together, he comes to town and he's her bodyguard, and that is where Annie initially meets him. And they don't really like hit it off or anything, but she knows of him because he is the bodyguard for her new sister-in-law. So he goes away and he goes on another assignment, but now the couple from the first book is getting married very soon, so things are gonna get crazy in town again. So at the start of the story, we meet Annie. Well, we met her before, but we are now focused on her, and she has kind of decided now that her brother has gotten together with someone and is getting married, like she just wants to be married. Like she's decided she wants to settle down. Like she has everything else in life. She has a great family. She's opened her flower shop, which was her dream, but like she just feels like there's something missing, and she's just ready to like find her person. But she's super socially awkward. She has a lot of anxiety, and she just has a really hard time meeting new people and a hard time like talking to people that she doesn't know and communicating with them. Like it's just really hard for her to like start a conversation. She's just very like introverted. So the start of this story is her basically trying to go on another failed date that just is failing horribly, and she ends up running into Will because he's back in town now because he's going to be the bodyguard once again. So they kind of reconnect, whatever, but pretty much the singer from the first book, the bodyguard's client, is talking to the sister and, you know, knows that she needs help. She's like, you just need a little practice, whatever. So Will doesn't have a lot to do because they're in this very small town. Like normally he's bodyguarding her in like New York City, whatever. This is a small town. Like she's not going to that many places. She doesn't need him that much. So he's like kind of bored out of his mind and expresses that, and like he's like, anything you need me to do, like I'm a busybody, give me something to do. So she gets it in her head that like, I know exactly what you could do. You could help my sister-in-law practice dating. So that is pretty much what comes about. She ends up trying to hook the two of them up. Initially, he is very against it. He is very like, he has a lot of trauma from, I guess his parents had a really horrible relationship and were just constantly like cheating on each other and fighting when he was growing up. So he just like doesn't believe in like monogamy. He doesn't believe in marriage or like long-term relationships. It's just not something that he has any interest in, because he just, from his experience, like it just doesn't work and there's no point. So he's very like anti being in a relationship. So that's why this situation like appears to be perfect, because she wants somebody that wants to settle down and wants to have kids and wants to like, you know, just like be there all the time and cuddle on the couch and whatever. Just basically the opposite of what he is. And he doesn't want that at all. So that's why they're like, okay, this will work, because like he will not fall in love with her. He will not get into a relationship with her. And she doesn't even like, I mean, she's very attracted to him, but she's like, I don't want a guy like you because you don't like check off the boxes that I need. So anyways, that's where we are. The story just really started. He literally just agreed to practice date her. So that's where we are. I'm interested to see where it goes. It's good so far. I'm not like overly obsessed with it. There have been some cute little dialogue moments, like the guy is definitely hot, but I just feel like Sarah Adams and so many rom-com people, they very much just like follow a formula, and this just feels like one of those books that I feel like I've read before. You know what I mean? Like she has a very particular style, and her books are just, they're not all the same, they're different, but you know, I just been like, yep, here's a Sarah Adams book, like I just know it. So definitely liking it, but I hope that when they practice date, I'm just very picky about that trope, like the practice dating. it doesn't always hit for me. Like The American Roommate Experiment by Lena Armas had like, because when it's like, I love fake dating. I love the fake dating trope. I love when you're fake dating to like confuse other people or like to make other people jealous. Like you're fake dating for the public. But whenever it's a fake dating trope where you're fake dating just to like practice with each other, it either completely hits for me or it doesn't. Like Mixed Signals by B.K. Borson, that trope is in it, and I freaking love that book. I thought it was so well done. But The American Roommate Experiment by Lena Armas, I liked that book in general, but the fake dating aspect of it, I didn't really like. So it just depends. I hope that it hits in this one. I have high hopes. I really want it to. I feel like I kind of relate to the girl in a lot of ways about just her social awkwardness and the thought of like going on a date with somebody like for the first time and starting over every single time, and just how it's like, what do we even talk about? Like some of her internal thoughts, I'm like, sis, I feel you. Like I really feel you. So anyways, looking forward to it. I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but yeah, gonna keep going. Okay, hi guys. I have 100 pages left in Practice Makes Perfect, and if I was not filming this video, I would be enough this book at this point. And I hate to say that, but it's just, this is every bit of one of those really fluffy, quirky rom-coms that I have just come to realize I don't think I can read anymore. Like they're just not for me. It's just, I don't know, there's been like a few lines here and there that, like quotes that are really good. There's this one quote where Will tells Annie, like, he's asking her what her dreams are or something like that, and she's kind of reciting off what she's always thought her dreams are and what has kind of been instilled in her and what other people think of her, and he kind of sees through her right away and is like, what is actually your dream? And he's like, I think that you're just too scared to be loved or to be yourself out loud or something like that. It was a quote like that that I was like, oh, that's like a good quote. But otherwise, there have been a few moments in this book that have made me like physically cringe, and that's very difficult for me. Obviously difficult for anyone, but I don't know, like the guy in this book, he's hot, like aesthetically, love the tattoos, love all of that, but this setting of this small town, it's just a lot for me because I feel like it's really trying to be pushed like, oh, we're in a really small town and it's really quirky and everybody here knows everybody, and there's just so many like characters in this story and so many names thrown out and so many just like useless interactions with all of these characters that is supposed to give you that like warm fuzzy Hallmark like small town feel, and I'm just like skimming over it at this point. Like all of those parts, like I can just tell like, okay, we're gonna have a whole interaction with the old lady that owns the motel, or like the guy that works at the fire station, or this or whatever, like, you know, there's just so much of that where it's like, okay, like eyes are skimming. But yeah, it's also just one of those books where I feel like at this point, like I just know what's gonna happen with the rest of the story. You know, he's the broody bodyguard that like doesn't believe in love because his parents had a rough relationship growing up, which is a very realistic thing, obviously. And she's always been seen as like the innocent little girl, and everyone just sees her as like being a perfect princess, and she's always had this idea projected on her, and she wants to be who she wants to be. And so it's just, you know, I know the formula, I know where this is going, so it makes me so sad to say that I would, yeah, if I wasn't doing this video, I would DNF it. I'm just gonna fly through the last 100 pages to kind of give my final thoughts on it, but I'm not loving this one, and it makes me super sad because this cover is so cute. It's so freaking cute, and I really wanted to love this book, and I did really like the first book in the series. It wasn't my favorite ever, but I just thought that that one, like, it just felt like higher quality is kind of the only way I can explain it. It just felt like there was a lot more heart in it. This one feels a lot more like, let's pump out a second book in this story with a different trope and sprinkle in all the stuff that, you know, sells books. I don't know. Is that harsh? Maybe. But yeah, it's my thoughts. So I'm just gonna finish it, and then I probably won't have too many vastly different final thoughts, but I'll let you know. I did it. I finished it. And I just didn't love it. I wanted so badly to judge a book by its cover in this situation, but I cannot. I cannot do that. I wanted this to be a new favorite. I wanted to display it on my shelf, but I just didn't love it. And I'm not here to like dog this book because it's not a bad book. It's just not for me. Like, I'm at this stage where I've read a lot of rom-coms, and I just need like a little bit more out of them personally. And there's so many people that love to read like super fluffy, quirky rom-coms that just like make them feel good, that don't have to have like a lot of like dark emotional themes behind them. Like a lot of people just want like a simple story. And if you're looking for that, if you just want something cute and sweet, I mean, this was that. But I don't know. I just found myself not feeling anything when I was reading it. And like I've kind of said, it felt very predictable. I kind of felt like from the first page I could tell you how this entire story was going to go, and that's basically exactly how it went. Nothing crazy, nothing dramatic, and I'm conflicted on if I like the small town setting in general. I feel like it's been kind of like a hit or miss thing for me. I think it just depends on the way that it's done. I kind of prefer more of like a mountain setting, like a mountain man, small town setting in that way, where it's more like, okay, we're secluded, whatever, everybody knows everybody. But like these like super small Hallmark movie type of towns that are in these books, where there's just so many characters in them, and you're like hearing all these names and everybody knows everyone and they all have like a phone tree, and it's just like, it's so quirky. I keep using that word, but that's the only thing I can think to describe it. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. It doesn't feel real, but it's just not my thing. That is all I have to say about it. Wasn't my thing. I mean, the girl in the story was sweet. The guy was hot, of course, whatever. But I don't want to call it, I don't love to make like definitive statements, but I just don't know if like Sarah Adams books are for me, which is fine because they are for so many other people. People love her books. She's very good at what she does. She writes these really cute, lighthearted stories, and that is great, but I just don't know. I don't think she's for me, and that makes me sad. But time to move on to the next, and I am so freaking excited to get into this now, the 7-Year Slip. Gotta be honest, this was the one that I was the most excited about out of all of them that we were gonna read in this video. Better Than the Movies was great. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still obsessing over it, but I'm staring at it because it's over there on my little side table, and I just loved it so much. I can't stop thinking about it, but I want to have the same reaction with this book. I really, like I've said, I don't know much about this. I just know it's a guy and a girl that have some sort of love story, but they're living 7 years apart, something paranormal, something magical. I don't really know. But I really haven't seen anyone talk about this, but the people I have seen talk about it have loved it. So I'm hoping I will be one of those people. I'm very, very excited to get into it. So pretty much planning to sit on that couch and read this book. I don't want to say in one sitting, but I very much anticipate that I'm going to finish it today, because I just have a feeling. I have a feeling I'm going to fly through it. I flew through the Dead Romantics, so let's see what happens. Also, this is so floppy and nice. This is my kind of paperback. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so I'm about 100 pages in so far, and I'm not quite sure what to think yet. Pretty much this story follows this girl named Clementine that grew up in the Upper East Side in New York, and she was super close with her aunt. Her aunt was like this very eccentric woman that loved art and loved traveling, and she was just like very much a free spirit, and she really looked up to her aunt and loved her, and her aunt like gave her all these rules in life of like, always be ready to fall in love, always chase the moon, always keep your passport, you know, up to date, whatever. And so she just really looked up to and loved her aunt, was really close with her. And her aunt always told her this story basically about how her apartment that she lived in the Upper East Side was magical, and that there was times that she would be transported, and whenever she'd go into the apartment, to the past, and she'd be 7 years in the past, and there was this woman there that she ended up befriending, ended up becoming something more. And Clementine never like took the stories too seriously, because she just thought like, oh, she's just like telling me this story, it's just supposed to be like entertaining, it's just this whimsical, it's very her to like make up these kind of stories, I guess. But now her aunt has passed away, and she's living in this apartment. She's working in like a publishing office, and her aunt has just recently passed away, like in the last few months. She's like very much grieving her because she loves her so much. Like she was like her best friend essentially. And now she just got out of a relationship that she was in for a few months that just like wasn't working out, whatever. So now she's kind of at this weird like crossroads in life, doesn't feel like she really has anyone. Just is kind of going through it. She's like in her late 20s, whatever, just all that kind of stuff. Pretty much she falls asleep at her apartment. She wakes up and this boy is there named, I don't know how to say his name. It's I-W-A-N, Iwan? I don't know. but he's there. He like wakes her up and she's like, oh my God, why are you in my apartment? Long story short, he's from 7 years in the past. 7 years in the past, her and her aunt actually were on like a trip in Europe for the summer, and I guess the aunt let this guy like sublet the apartment while she was gone. But now Clementine has like woken up in the apartment. She's 7 years in the past. This guy is there, and they very much have like an insta love connection, like the most insta love ever, to the point that it kind of made me a little nauseous. I won't lie. He's like, he dreams of being a chef, and he's staying here for the summer. He's trying to get a job working at this elite restaurant as like a dishwasher so he can work his way up. And he immediately is like, let me make you dinner. Like, she just, I don't know. She explains that it's like a misunderstanding, and he offers to leave, but she's like, no, it's okay. Like, just stay. But he like makes her dinner, and they immediately like, music comes on and they start dancing. Like, I don't know. It's just very like insta-lovey for my personal taste so far. And I felt like the first 30 pages or so were a lot of info dump. I don't know why it felt like it took me, like, I just sat here and read all this straight through, but those first 30 pages felt like it took me like a while to get through, because it was just a lot of information being thrown at you about like who this girl is, who all her friends are, about this publishing house that she works at, and so much information about that. Also, she's like up for a promotion at the publishing house. Like, there was just a lot of info, a lot about her aunt, a lot about the apartment, all of that. So yeah, the story I feel like really has just kind of started. So she's now stuck 7 years in the past, and I don't know if she's going to continue to go back and forth, but obviously this is like a tough situation because she immediately has feelings for this guy, but it's like, okay, we're living 7 years apart. There's no way to know like in the future where she is from, like where this guy is or what he's doing, and obviously he doesn't know because he's in the past. They haven't like discussed it yet that she is from the future, but yeah, she's kind of stuck here now, and they're like staying together, and he's like making her meals and whatever. It's cute. I'm not like super hooked yet, but I'm interested to see where it goes, and like if it's kind of explained what the whole magic is behind this. And I don't know, because the aunt always said that like the woman that she would go back to and see, like she would always end up back in the 7-year slip whenever they were both at like crossroads in their lives and kind of like needed each other to get through those things. So I feel like you're gonna find out more about the guy, and like maybe they have similar things happening. So I don't know. I am like not gonna say anything yet. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm feeling it out, but definitely an interesting concept, and I'm interested to see where it goes. Okay, hello. This is the current situation. He's on me, which means there's no telling when I'm gonna be able to get up. So I'm up now. Now you choose. He always does this, I swear to God. Every time I start talking, like turn the camera on and start talking and he's on me, he leaves. Probably irritated with the sound of my voice, but I have my ultra light lamp on. Whenever it's like nighttime and I'm reading, I always take my lampshade, you can't even see it, I always take my lampshade off of my lamp so that my light is brighter. But anyways, I am like 200 pages now into the 7-year slip, and I don't know if I spoke a little too soon with being like a hater ass bitch. Perhaps. It's definitely getting better now that like the two timelines are kind of like weaving together, and you're seeing how everything fits in present day. And it's definitely like a complicated situation, and one thing that I am liking about it is I always love in a book, it's one of my favorite things whenever you're kind of confused about something in the present day, but then whenever flashbacks to the past happen, it makes it make sense. Like things are slowly revealed and puzzle pieces are put together. Like that is always one of my favorite things in books, and that's happening a little bit in this story. So I am liking it. I will say this book has a lot of like scenes in it that just feel really unnecessary to me. Like I wouldn't even call them fluff, but they're just entire scenes where I don't really know what's adding to the story by doing some of these scenes. Like there's a lot of times where they're like cooking meals together and eating things and just discussing things, like a lot of conversations that I don't feel like they add much. Like with side characters as well, there's a lot of like information about the girl's job and like her day-to-day stuff that she's working on and people that she's working with, and I don't know, maybe it'll make more sense later, but there's just a lot of scenes where it's like for 3-4 pages I'm kind of like skimming because it doesn't feel like it applies to the story at all. And it just kind of feels very extra and out of place. Like there was just this entire scene where I was like, I don't know, it just felt odd to me. So I don't know, overall I'm liking it. Also, there was definitely just like a little cameo of a character from The Dead Romantics, or both of them I think actually, which I didn't catch at first. I kind of skimmed over it, then I was like, wait, I know that name. So always love that. Always love when authors like connect their books in like subtle ways where if you don't know, you don't know, but if you do know, you know. So that's fun. But yeah, gonna finish it up. We'll see if I finish it tonight or in the morning, but regardless, about to finish this up and we'll see how I feel. All right, guys, I finished the 7-Year Slip and I just have really mixed feelings about it because I think the concept behind the story, like the whole magical aspect to it, the whole idea of this apartment where, you know, it goes back in time, like parts of the story, especially towards the end when everything started to come together, it felt very like Back to the Future-esque, where things are happening in the past that affects the future and certain characters know things that are going to happen but can't tell the other characters because they have to like find out for themselves. Like just the way that the two timelines weave together, and as you found out more information, it was just very interesting. It was very kind of like whimsical. There was a moment where I was like, aw, like it really kind of like made my heart flutter for a minute. But I don't know, the rest of the story didn't quite do it for me. Like overall, I liked it. I definitely liked it, but I do have to say this is one of those stories where, you know, I mentioned in the beginning, it was very insta-love, and as the story ended, I still kind of feel that way. Like this story acted like it was like an epic love story. Like the couple at the end especially, it was like, oh, I love you so much. Like there were such like proclamations of I've waited for you and all this stuff, and like it was very romantic. Like it has a very romantic feel to it, but the couple literally had like a handful of conversations, I mean total, in the entire book. And so when all of this like grand, you know, love proclaiming was happening at the end, it was just like a little hard for me to believe because I didn't really feel like the characters even knew each other that much. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just like read a romance book and it's almost like you're just supposed to accept that they're in love, and I prefer to see it. I prefer to see it play out more. I prefer more conversations. I feel like you need a little bit more bonding. Like obviously in every romance, the couple in one way or another kind of has to be instantly attracted to each other, at least physically. But this story, it just felt like the two people met and it was just like instantly, you're the one for me. And I don't know, like, so it just felt like there was like a little bit of disconnect there for me. But overall, the concept was really cool, really interesting. Definitely had like a feel-good vibe to it at the end, especially. There was a twist in the story that I didn't see coming, but once it like started to get introduced, I immediately was like, oh, like that's what this is. But then I felt like it took a while for that to be like revealed. So by the time it was revealed, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, I know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. As you can tell, just a lot of mixed thoughts and feelings, but overall, I did like it. But of our 3 rom-coms that we read in this video, I think it's pretty obvious that my favorite was Better Than the Movies. This got all the stars from me. Even after reading these other 2 books, I'm just like obsessed with this one. It just did everything right. It checked off all of my boxes. And then number 2 for me would be The 7-Year Slip. Still liked the concept, all of that. And then last for me is gonna be Practice Makes Perfect, because you just know at this point. I won't ramble on any further about it, but regardless, guys, this was a fun video. It was fun to kind of tear my way through 3 books that I've been wanting to read for a while now. I would like to make some more videos like this, maybe, I don't know, some like thriller videos. We're getting into like the spooky season, fall and whatnot. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, anything you'd like to see me read, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you've read any of these books, obviously let me know what you thought. But yeah, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.